Well, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Uncover.
Under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Now to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas one state, under God, one indivisible.
Always love to keep the kids involved. Welcome to our ceremony today. Again, I apologize for being a little bit late. We hope you all enjoy it. It has a lot of meaning behind it. The American Legion is committed to achieving a full accounting of all POWs and MIAs from the Gulf War, Vietnam War, Cold War, Korean War, World War II. This means returning living POWs, the repatriation of their remains, or finding convincing evidence why neither of these is possible. The American Legion supports the continued declassification of all POW/MIA information, the strengthening of joint commissions with Russia, North Korea, and China, the adequate resource and investigative efforts, and the field operations to resolve POW/MIA issues. The American Legion has also worked continuously with both Congress and Department of Defense to improve the policies and programs for the accountability of missing persons. This includes urging the President and Congress to fully fund the Defense POW/MIA Accounting Office, the DPMO, for its current and future missions of ensuring the accountability of U.S. service members. The American Legion will continue to speak out and exert maximum pressure on both the administration and on Congress to fully account for America's POWs and MIAs. At this time, Harry, would you like to come and say a few words? Harry is a former POW of the Korean War. You may be seated today.
I'm going to try to keep it as short as I can, because I'm losing my voice. I just took one off somewhere, but forgot to take me with it. Okay, I spent 2.5 years as a prisoner of war in Korea. Within that time, we lost over 50% of those that were captured died in the prison camp. We figure that by the time, within the first 2 weeks after arriving at the camp up north, we lost in the camp, people died at the camp, approximately 1,600 POWs. But one thing that really stands out with me as a POW is when I was released on September 6, 1953, and I stepped off those Korean Chinese trucks, and I looked up there and I seen the American flag flying. I saluted and I froze. And that for the first time in my life, I knew what freedom meant. Before that, I just took it for granted. Like all of us, we take it for granted. We do not realize what freedom is until it is taken away from you. So, to all those who didn't make it back, someday their bodies, they return for they will meet them in heaven. And God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
POW, all U.S. wars, War of the Revolution, POWs, 18,172, MIAs, 1,426, War of 1812, POWs, 20,000, MIAs, 695, Mexican War, POWs, 46, MIA, 38. U.S. Indian War, POW, 339. MIA, 11. Indian Wars, Native American, POW, 2,958. MIA, 40. Civil War, the Union, POW and MIA, 194,743. Civil War, the Confederacy, POW, MIA, 214,865. Spanish American War, POW, 8, MIA, 72. World War I, POW, MIA, 7,407. World War II, POW, 124,079, MIA, 30,314. Cold War era, POW, that's still classified, MIA, 343. War, POW, 7,140, MIA, 8,025. Vietnam War, 766, POW, MIA, 1,713. USS Pueblo, POW, 43. Persian Gulf War, POW, 29, MIA, 21. Somalia, POW, 6, MIA, 2. Yugoslavia, POW, 3.
This time I'll read a brief history of our POW MIA flag. In 1971, Ms. Michael Huff, the wife of U.S. military officer listed as missing in action during the Vietnam War, developed the idea for our national flag to remind every American of the U.S. service members whose fates were never accounted for during the war. The black and white image of a gaunt silhouette, a strand of barbed wire, and an ominous watchtower was designed by Newton Isley, a former World War II pilot. By the end of the Vietnam War, more than 2,500 service members were listed by the Department of Defense as prisoners of war, POW or missing in action, MIA. In 1979, as families of the missing pressed for full accountability, Congress and the President proclaimed the first National POW MIA Recognition Day to acknowledge the families concerned and symbolize the steadfast resolve of the American people to never forget the men and women who gave up their freedom protecting the war. 3 years later, in 1982, the POW MIA flag became the only flag other than the Stars and Stripes to fly over the White House in Washington, D.C. On August 10, 1990, Congress passed U.S. Public Law 101-355, designating the POW MIA flag.
Before we begin, can you rise and uncover for a prayer, please? O God of mercy, we beg you now to protect in a special way those who are fighting for us and for the country that we love. Bless them and take care of them. If they are tired, give them strength. If they are wounded and suffering, give them comfort. And if they are lonely, touch them with your gentle hand and let them know that you are near them. Grant them strength, wisdom, and help and power through your limitless love. Amen. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, today we pay tribute to the men and women who have served our nation unselfishly, who put duty above all else, true American patriots. Within each of us lies the American spirit, a burning desire to dedicate ourselves to the American ideals of freedom. This desire is deep within the heart and soul of every soldier, every sailor, every airman, every Marine, and every Coast Guardsman. It is undaunted by weather conditions, living conditions, or the hardship of the mission. America's military has always been the beacon of freedom, shining for all to see. They have always marched with their heads held high and served with pride. Through all periods of war in our American history, one question remains unanswered. Where are our brothers, our prisoners of war, our missing in action? This is not an absence of choice, but rather one that emulates duty, honor, and country. Remember. We call your attention to the table set in a place of honor. It has 6 chairs, one for each of the 5 armed services and one for civilians. It is reserved to honor the men and women who are prisoners of war or missing in action. They're commonly called POW MIAs, but many of you call them brothers and sisters in arms. Let us remember their absence. The Honor Guard will set the 6 place settings to remind us that those who are physically missing from our presence are always welcome at our table. Please rise while the service covers are placed. Let us remember the United States Army. Let us remember the United States Navy. Let us remember the United States Air Force. Let us remember the United States Coast Guard. Let us remember the United States Marine.